Glorious morning. We're live. Chop, how are we doing today?
Hello, Pepito. Doing very well. We were just chatting backstage about my workout, which I was about to post into the dojo. Managed to sneak one in. I've been very active the past couple of days, which has been great. So I'm feeling fresh and ready to go. How about you?
I'm doing good. Today's kind of rest day. No workouts for me, but was hitting the gym the past couple days. Feeling good, refreshed. I mean, weather is now turning to a bit shitty back in Paris, which is kind of nice as well because it was super hot for like the past week or so. I know, and exciting to be back for another week on Beyond the Price here. Let me share this in the Discord. Boom. And that is done. No, but yeah, today we have Dango. I'm not. We'll have to ask exactly how is it pronounced. But excited to have George and Larry, I think, on, and the Dang Bros coming in. So that should be a good one.
I noticed that name in the write up. I enjoyed that. That was good.
Yeah, my minimal research came out with this community name. Hopefully, it's the right one, but I believe it is.
It's funny. Looking forward to getting to chat to the guys. The whole everything app narrative in crypto seems to be picking up a bit of steam lately. So I'm keen to see what these guys have got going on.
Yeah. Any updates from your side on the community things, or before
We do have a little bit of an update, actually.
Okay.
It'll all become a bit clearer quite soon. But for those who want a bit of a head start on what's going on, you can jump onto the governance forum and have a look in the ideas space. We're going to have a bunch of things being posted in there, which are proposals that the community council is going to be pushing through for the following 6 months of the 12-month council term, and making some requests to the DAO to fund a couple of interesting things. That's going to be going on the forum over the next couple of days, and we'll be talking about that more over the next couple of weeks as we make those requests and start developing what we've got there. But if you want a bit of a head start, jump over onto the forum and take a look, or bully some of the council members in the Discord to tell you what's going on if you're super interested.
No, that's super cool. Has it been close to 6 months on the community council now?
Very close. Yeah, we're almost there. We've got just just under a month to go, and we're 6 months through.
Yeah, it was mid-March or something like that. I remember.
Yep, that sounds about right. Yeah, so distributed just over 1 million PIS up until this point, and we'll be making similar requests for the following 6 months for a bunch of different community initiatives that we've got going on. Pretty exciting.
No, that sounds very cool. Oh, okay, cool. Then I see George and Larry backstage. GM guys, thanks for hopping on. Larry, first of all, I was seeing backstage you have the camera that follows you around, which is pretty funny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's quite the technology you got there. No, but welcome, guys. Great to have you on today.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
To get it started, can you oh, go ahead, Chop.
I was going to say the same thing. Just to kick us off, can you tell us a little bit about yourselves and Dango? What is Dango, and how do you guys find yourself in this crazy space?
Yeah, so Dango is an exchange. So just like any other exchange, you can trade spot, you can trade perps, you can take leverage, you can earn yield, you can do pretty much everything. So I'm the founder here. George is the chief growth officer. So we started. I started Dango back in 2023 in October. I quit my job. I solo hacked on the project for close to a year, and in the August of last year, we raised fund, assembled a team, and now we're here. So it has been for so long. Just 2 months is shy of 2 years. The entire journey.
And I'm
Very
a
cool.
relatively
Yep, George, go ahead.
I'm relatively new to Dango. I joined about 4 months ago. I came into crypto in sort of early 2021. Back then, I was sort of doing what I loved full time, which was actually teaching. I was teaching like Latin and ancient Greek, which is very much a world apart from crypto. But I had a very close friend, still do, who sort of gave me a tap on the shoulder, and he sort of said, you ought to be paying attention to crypto. I didn't really know anything about it at the time. So I trusted his word and got him to kind of set me up with a very basic portfolio. And at the time, it was like a equal split between Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, and FTT. And obviously how that ended with FTT. But when I set up that portfolio, my plan was really just to hodl, and was just gonna basically like hold it on my Binance account. That was just the plan. And I started to research like what these tickers were and like what was actually going on with crypto. I found it very interesting, but I kind of wanted to explore more, but I was kind of broke. I didn't really have the funds to play around with. As you know, teaching is it's a very rewarding job, but not necessarily financially rewarding. So I kind of had the idea. I saw this job opportunity at a DeFi protocol, which was basically just pure copywriting. And I thought, hey, I'm semi-decent with words. I bet I could do a decent job of just running the socials for one of these projects. So I sort of took a stab in the dark, sent in an application, thinking nothing would happen. Lo and behold, they did reach out and sort of hopped on a call. I was absolutely terrified. I was probably like whiter than a ghost on that call, feeling like an absolute imposter. But they sort of said, hey, draw up a tweet for us. Let's see what you've got. And I sort of drafted some tweets, and they said, this isn't terrible. Maybe there's something that we could do with this. And they gave me a shot. But as I said, it was a big risk to sort of work in crypto for me, because I didn't really have like a something to fall back on if I left teaching. So I decided to like just hedge, and I basically ran 2 jobs for a while. So I was teaching full time and living a dual life, really, sort of like teaching Latin and Greek, and then I come home in the evenings and I just run the account for this project. I did that for about 6 months, and I really enjoyed it, but sort of things didn't necessarily work out there, and I sort of ended up on my bum, just sort of like having left teaching and sort of looking around and didn't really know what to do. Ended up falling into another project, and from there spent 3 very happy years at Woo, which is a project very dear to my heart, and kind of there learned the trades of basically marketing, growth, BD, all of that. I loved it, every single moment of that, and kind of imparted onto me a lot of skills. And kind of from there just sort of fell into DeFi and dove deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole. And then about 5 months ago, another close friend of mine tapped me on the shoulder and said, there's a project that you should be paying attention to, and it just so happened to be Dango. And I heard about Larry. I heard about what Larry was building. At the time, didn't really have any understanding of kind of Larry's track record. One thing that you'll probably come to know on this podcast is that Larry is probably one of the most humble, modest guys that you could ever meet. He's with an absolutely insane track record. And he didn't really touch on it there, but this was something I didn't really know when I joined Dango. It was just sort of, you can see these weird, wacky characters besides me. This was what initially captured my interest. And I was like, God, this is so bizarre. But it's also so cool. I've never seen branding like this. And took a leap of faith. And it's been like a really happy, kind of fast, busy past 5 months for me. But I'm really enjoying working at Dango, and so far so good. But we have so much more to prove, so much to ship over the next 12 months, and I'm excited on the pod to kind of delve deeper into that and give you guys a flavor, really, like what the hell's going on over here.
Yeah, awesome. Can't wait. Just to kick us off, George, maybe you can chat a little bit about the characters behind you. Like you said, they're really cool. And maybe go into what Dango is beyond being an exchange. Is it similar to something like Infinex or DeFi.app or a traditional DEX? Or what are the unique selling points to Dango? What makes it different?
Sure. Yeah. So firstly, on the characters, so where Dango comes from, it's Larry's baby. It's Larry's. This is all Larry's idea. I think Larry was, maybe Larry can attest to it better. But Larry was always sort of, he loved DeFi Summer, right? He loves DeFi like more than anything else. I've never seen a man like talk more passionately about like coding and blockchains and cryptocurrency. And I think like one of the names that used to resonate with Larry was sushi. And he started to think about other sort of Japanese foods and what else is there that's quite popular and tasty and that people love in Japan. And Larry thought of Dango, and he thought there's no chance, there's absolutely no chance that the project hasn't already taken this name and just ran with it. And lo and behold, no one had. And so Larry decided to kind of own Dango as a name and kind of worked with a sort of external contractor to kind of draw up some initial branding. And that individual kind of landed on this weird, wacky set of characters who are all obsessed with Dango. They're like Dango fiends. And so this character here, the crocodile is called Kuro. This one, the bird, is called Pip. There's about at least 12 others, each with their own little distinct personalities. And then as for like the comparisons as to kind of other projects, Infinex is a good comparison. Chop, I think that's really good. At the heart, you can think of it really as we're building our own kind of like high performance layer one, right? And on that layer one, we want you to be able to trade. We want you to be able to earn. We want you to be able to do pretty much anything that you'd like to do from basically one blockchain, from one user interface, and from one unified kind of account system where where everything is interlinked. So you can kind of borrow with that account balance, and you can use it to trade perps, margin, spot, all sort of cross-collateralized. And that's really at heart the vision for Dango, is to build something very simple, but also super clean, but kind of houses everything that you could possibly want to do under one roof.
Yeah, so I want to add to these points. So you asked two things. One is branding, and one is the capability of our product. So on the branding, as George said, the story was we were inspired by DeFi Summer. So if you're new here, DeFi Summer is the period from the summer of 2020 and the couple of months is following that. So it was kickstarted with the compound yield farming. That is when pretty much the first time you see like 10,000% APY and all the crazy stuff that gave birth to all the DeFi today. So that's around the time I got in crypto. And compare that period to now, I feel like a big difference. Now we have a lot more performance, a lot more liquidity, a lot more institutions in, but something I feel really missing is the fun factor is missing. So, back in DeFi Summer, there is a completely new primitive coming out pretty much every day. Like you need to be like a full-time researcher to keep up with all the things that are coming out every day. And people are having fun experimenting stuff. Of course, a lot of those new primitives didn't survive. Like there are a few ones I remember very clearly. There was Olympus DAO. There was Alchemix. There was all sorts of algorithmic stable coins, things that are completely new that you have never seen before in traditional finance, and people have a lot of fun experimenting all these stuff. Some cases making money, sometimes losing money, and another two instances I remember really well is a sushi. So sushi was launched by this anon called Chef Nomi. He tried to vampire attack Uniswap. And I don't remember if you guys know. I don't know if you guys remember. They have an interface called Master Chef, where you deposit Uniswap LP, and it's super cartoonish. A lot of like funny words. And the other one is Yam Finance. So Yam Finance was also similar, and they also had like a security incident where the community everybody got together and pass a governance proposal within 24 hours to rescue everybody's fund. So, a lot of things happened, and I really enjoyed that time. I want to kind of bring back the vibe of 2020 DeFi summer. So when I went to our like a branding agency and designer, I literally just pulled out the old screenshot of the V1 of SushiSwap and Yam. There were like one screenshot in the entirety of internet. I think a lot of information have been lost. So I literally just gave them that screenshot and say, hey, just give me a branding that has this exact same vibe. And that is how Dango came about. So about Dango itself, there are, I like to put it this way. So there is the baseline, meaning all the things we have to do. If we do them, we have parity with the current industry leaders. So that would be Binance in the centralized world, Hyperliquid in the decentralized world. So that's the baseline. So that will be very high performance, on-chain order book, zero gas fee, spot market, perp market, and vaults. So all that stuff. We're going to do all of these. That gives us parity with the industry leaders. And then there's the new stuff, because we need to do more than the baseline so that users will come to us. So we have three main things in that part. We use this thing called periodic auctions as the matching engine for our order book exchange. And that ensures a fair execution. It prevents front running, it prevents MBV. And I think overall, it means lower risk for market makers. Lower risk for market makers means more market makers, more liquidity, and for traders, it means better execution. The second thing is the incorporation of a passive liquidity pool. So on the one hand, it provides a new yield opportunity for retail investors. On the other hand, it acts as the backstop liquidity for our exchange. So even during periods of high volatility and so on, you can still expect a good execution of your trades. And the third feature is cross-collateralization between the spot and the perp markets. This is something that you see in centralized world. FTX had it, Backpack has it, Bybit has it, but you don't see it in the decentralized world. Like if you trade on Hyperliquid, you can have millions of dollars in your spot account, but those assets will do nothing to your perp account. So maybe you have a temporary drawdown in your perp account. You may be liquidated. Those assets in your spot account will not help. So this can mean a lot of things in periods of high volatility. And also for certain strategies, such as basis trading, which is what Ethena does, if you have cross-collateralization, you can basically have 2x the capital efficiency. So it's a really powerful feature. So we have the baseline and three main features.
Cool. Is Dango layer 1? So you're operating your own chain as well?
Yeah, Dango is layer 1, and we actually built the entire thing from ground up. So we are not like using an existing stack like Cosmos SDK or Arbitrum or Optimism OP stack. No, we built the entire thing from scratch, like our own smart contract engine, our own indexer, our RPC. Basically, it's the entire thing.
What made you say, hey, we need our own, I guess, custom build R1 versus, I guess, some of the solutions that you mentioned?
Some of those three features are just only possible if we have very in-depth customizations to the execution. So we just need it to shape the features we want. And then there's also a historical aspect. Actually, we didn't start as Dango. We started as an infrastructure project. So Dango was not the product. The infra was the product. So at one point we thought, well, we built all these infra. How are we gonna sell it? Because like OP Stack, for example, has a lot of market share. It's really difficult to sell a completely new, like a smart contract VM and everything. So we decided, well, we just be our own customer. We just build a successful application ourselves with our own stack. And if we are able to achieve some commercial success, that will be a good story to tell and a very powerful pitch to sell our infra. So yeah, that's
Cool.
the two
So how
aspects.
does the interoperability part of the equation work? Is there going to be seamless trading between EVM and SVM using Dango, or is it at the moment localized to just what's available on Dango?
It's localized. So the experience is very similar to centralized exchanges or Hyperliquid. So you will generate a personalized deposit address for your assets, and you just deposit, send to that address, and you can then use your Dango account to do things.
Okay. Bridging and getting onto Dango, what's that like? Is it an EVM chain or an SVM chain or entirely separate? Because you've built it from the ground up.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering.
So for smart contract enabled chains like EVM, SVM, SUI, Aptos, we use Hyperlane. And for non-smart contract chains like Bitcoin, XRP, Cardano, I know Cardano has smart contracts, but nobody knows how to write it. But for those chains, we are developing our own bridge. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. That's developing your own bridge is a huge. How many people work with Dango at the moment, Larry? How big's the team? This is a
Right now
huge
we have-
undertaking for a small team.
Yeah, right now we have 12.
Okay.
12 or 13, I can't remember. Of which maybe 8 are devs. Yeah.
Cool. What's your role, George? What's your role in all of this?
Sure. Yeah. So I lead growth. When I was at Woo, I kind of mentioned earlier that really I was sort of copywriting to begin with, but I was working under such great talent there, and I think they sort of imparted so many skills onto me and really wanted me to try different things, such that I kind of learned to spin a lot of different plates. Sort of that people say about that saying, jack of all trades, master of none. I think that pretty much sums me up. So I pretty much get involved with everything. So that would be just the social media, helping out with content, right? When it comes to campaigns, figuring out ways to acquire new users, to acquire volume, to acquire fees. Well, there's no volume or fees yet, but that will come with mainnet. Just really designing our go-to-market plan, being the one really to chiefly execute on that, to seek out new partners, to yeah, I pretty much get involved with everything, but I kind of that's really what I enjoy most. I think working in crypto is the fact that it's so broad, and that my day to day at Dango can look so different every single day. There's really always something new to kind of get stuck into there. But you touched on a point there, Chop, about the Dango team being so small, yet us doing sort of big undertaking. And I would like to touch on that, and I do think that's something that we're very proud of, is the fact that I think in our hearts we do believe that we're probably building twice as much as most other projects with about half the funding, and you wouldn't believe how quickly you can move when everybody is aligned. I have worked at projects where it can feel like you're wading through treacle, especially in the decision-making process down to the execution process, when you have people who are not on the same page, who are not kind of working towards the same vision, you can experience such friction in kind of just getting things done. Whereas I kind of look at us at Dango, and I look at how small we are, and it's incredible just how aligned we are in our thinking and our vision and what we work towards. I kind of very much see us as like being very agile. We're very quick, just from from sort of concept to the actual execution. It feels like we move so quickly. We move like light speed because we just all think the same way, and that's something that I think is really going to play into our. I truly believe will play into our kind of our advantage as we look towards mainnet, which I think we Larry and the whole team is thinking about at the moment later this year in Q4, and sort of very excited to really start making some bigger decisions that I think will have kind of bigger impacts for us and the community kind of at large.
You're muted, Chop.
Oops. Thanks, Dylan. Thanks, Pepito. Maybe that's something you, Larry, could touch on, or perhaps you, George, is your testnet phase at the moment, and what you're doing with the community in the testnet phase, and what people can do to get involved if they're keen.
Do you want to take it, Larry?
So
Yeah, he's got it.
yeah, so we just finished our testnet 2. So testnet 2, we shipped our order book exchange, but not completely. There are features still missing. So our plan in the short-term future, meaning the rest of August and September, is we're going to ship another testnet. So I'm not sure if this is going to be called testnet 2.5 or testnet 3. But the point is we're going to ship the missing features. That would be trade history and the order liquidity depth chart. And we're also going to ship a updated order matching algorithm. So during testnet 2, we realized there are some issues with the order matching algorithm. We already did a fix. We completed the fix yesterday. It's already deployed on our internal devnet. So we are going to get everything ready, and we do a new testnet. So the way to get involved in testnet is we are having a collaboration with Galaxy. So Galaxy is a platform where you can complete tasks and collect digital collectibles. So we're going to have some tasks for you. Those tasks are mostly going to be related to the things we are testing. So if we are testing the exchange, the tasks will be related to trading. And if you complete the tasks, you will be able to claim a digital collectible. And those digital collectibles, once we have mainnet, are going to give you some advantages, such as in points or in fee rates and so on. Yeah, so just how to get involved, just follow our announcements. And once we have tasks, just go ahead and complete them.
And so far, we've been blown away by the support that people are kind of been showing us on the testnet. It's funny because when you start out, right, at a new project like I did with Dango, and you kind of begin executing on the go-to market, there is definitely a part of you which is very anxious. Maybe sort of Chop and Pepito, you can kind of you'll understand what I'm saying here. There's so much that can happen, and it is yet to happen, and all these ideas are swirling around your head, and you're wondering if all of this will actually pay off, or if like what you've drawn up, you're kind of wondering whether or not you've kind of figured out the best path ahead for the project. But we kind of, the moment from we launched the first test net, we kind of realized, like, yeah, I think this can work. I think we've kind of agreed on the right direction here. And then that first test net, I think there was about 110,000 oats that were claimed, and there was north of like 3 million different transactions on Dango, on our chain. And in testnet 2, which we launched about a couple months afterwards, again, we've seen the numbers sort of increase. I think we had just over 135,000 oats claimed this time. And it feels like with each time we're making a slightly bigger ripple in the pond. But it's really great to see people kind of enjoying the fun branding. And what we're seeing especially is the name Dango resonating in Asia. If we look at our community, a lot of it is coming. A lot of Dang Bros come from Korea. A lot of Dang Bros come from China. We grow. Funnily enough, sort of seeing more from those two regions than Japan, which is where Dango comes from. But we've noticed this, particularly in Asia, people are enjoying Dango, and yeah, it's just really great to see. And by the way, if you're wondering where that name Dangbro came from, that was we were kind of knocking ideas about as the different way, what do you call your community? I know you guys landed on Pythians, which I like. I kind of resonate with that term. For us, I kind of looked at like our metrics and I was like, man, like 90% of our community is men. I just looked on X and I could see under the analytics. I was like, and if you think about crypto Twitter, inherently it attracts a lot of guys. For the reasons for this, I can only speculate and surmise. But I was like, if we got 90% guys, might as well lean into it. And Dangbro just kind of felt right. There were other ones, like Dangonian and things like this, but Dangbro was the one where it just kind of clicked, and I think ever since people have kind of latched onto that term.
Nice, I like it. I'd also like to know, you guys are competing in a very crowded field at the moment with the likes of Hyperliquid and Infinex and other applications. I'd love to know how you guys are thinking about attracting liquidity to the platform and what your approach to mainnet is, and getting good quality spreads for trading and a solid amount of liquidity for people to trade in. Is there much thought been turned to that yet, or is not something you're exploring just yet in this testnet phase?
Oh, Larry, you're muted.
Yeah, so I said we are going to have the passive liquidity pool, and those pools are not only going to be for perp markets but also for spot markets.
Okay.
Yeah, so we are going to put some of our own funds into it, and we are also going to be welcoming retail investors to LP, and of course there are going to be rewards for putting in your liquidity. Yeah, so it's going to be similar playbook as Hyperliquid. When Hyperliquid started, they have HLP. HLP did like 80% of all the trading volume, and afterwards they started gaining traction. External market makers start coming in, and gradually, I think nowadays HLP only does like 2-3% of all the volumes on Hyperliquid. So ideally, we follow the same path. We rely on our own liquidity pool first, and gradually we invite external market makers and traders, and gradually they will do more of the heavy lifting.
And the incentives you have in place around that, are they going to be around LP rewards, or using a potential Dango token, or new LP based mechanics, or perhaps you can speak to that a little bit?
So it's going to be points. So you LP, so we're going to have like a parameter that says you LP $1 for 1 day means this many points. Yeah, so just accumulate points, and so once we do TGE, the points can be converted to tokens. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Straightforward.
And one thing that Larry has done, and I think the community likes, is Larry believes in building in public. This is one thing that he's made very clear to the whole team. And when the moment I joined, this was one of the things that he very much stressed. And what Larry has been doing is he shares updates. He'll tweet about his plans beforehand. And I think Larry, you tweeted, when was it, about maybe a month ago or so, just very candidly, just laying out how you thought you wanted to execute the Dango airdrop. And that tweet kind of it attracted a lot of attention, and there was a lot of feedback given. But that's one thing that I think, like, to Larry's credit, that I would like to stress is like, and it goes for like Dango as a whole as a project, is that I think like we try to be as transparent as we can, as transparent as a sheet of paper. And Larry has talked about a points program that he wants to run. He has talked about his plans to, that we do want to reward kind of testnet users. That in itself is a very difficult task, right? Because you look at Galaxy, and we're not daft, right? We know that when we spin up a testnet and we launch a quest and there's people using it, in amongst those users are going to be bots. There's going to be individuals who are trying to sibble on a really high scale kind of professional level because they want to take advantage of the opportunity. With that presents certain difficulties in terms of rewarding that user base, because the last thing that we want to do as a team is to kind of make sure is to see a large percentage of Dango tokens kind of falling into the hands of sibbles and people who don't really care about, who aren't aligned with the values of the protocol and who don't really want to see us thrive in the long run. That said, we are very competent as a team. We have the benefit of seeing many teams have gone before us, and we have seen how they've executed, and we can kind of learn from their mistakes, right? Also the things that they've done well, and kind of iterate on that. But yeah, so TLDR, to answer your question, Chop, thinking about mainnet and how we want to kind of grow users and volumes, etc. There will be a points program. It will reward traders based on fees paid. It will reward LPs based on kind of opportunity cost, based on the opportunities that they've missed from elsewhere by LPing on Dango. And as far as I'm concerned, my growth strategy has always been in the test net. We want to cast out as big a net as we can. We want to get in front of people. We want to let people know what we're building. My chief levers in terms of driving our growth, one of them is Larry. And this is a core belief of mine. The team, many of the community are here because of Larry. We've seen what Larry can do, and Larry hasn't really talked about it too much. I would love for him to do that. But back in Cosmos and in Terra, Larry achieved lots of success, and it was a real tragedy what happened with Luna and Do Kwon and all of that. And had that not happened, I think we wouldn't be here right now. I don't know what Larry would be doing, but I feel like this is Larry's revenge arc in a way, because Larry should have in Terra. I think he would have gone on to achieve even greater things, but that was cut short. And I think for Larry, I don't want to speak for him. I want to let Larry kind of speak, but this is kind of Larry's comeback to what was a very unfortunate ending. This is Larry's chance to kind of achieve what he wanted to, but unfortunately wasn't able to because of the very short ending that came. Larry, do you talk a little? I would like for you to talk about what you were doing previously to Dango, because I feel like it was to everyone's benefit really to kind of hear that.
Yeah, so previously I worked for this company called Delphi Digital. So you may know they're a VC, but they also have a labs arm where we build our own stuff. So we were initially active in the Terra ecosystem. So we built an AMM called Astroport. We built a lending protocol called Mars. At one point, they were very successful. I think Astroport got more than $1 billion of TVL. Mars got 200 million. But of course, those all gone with the collapse of Terra. And later on, we moved on to other Cosmos chains, which in retrospect was not a good decision. We probably should have gone to Solana or EVM chains. But yeah, we eventually didn't manage to find enough traction in Cosmos. The entire ecosystem struggled. Yeah, so that's when I quit and started Dango.
So I see it as a large part of my role is to I want to put Larry on a pedestal. I want to show off Larry. I think if you look at the biggest assets that this project has, at the very tippity top is Larry. And there's this core belief that Larry has cooked before, and I do not know anyone who is more dialed, who is more switched on, who's like more passionate about like actually doing something good for the space than Larry. And I truly mean that from the bottom of my heart. So I see that as one of my jobs going into, you know, going into mainnet and going into the points program. I want people to know about Larry, because I truly believe that you know, Larry is going to achieve great things. He is at the helm of this ship. He is the skipper. Ultimately, he's the one charting the course of this map, and he's the one telling us where to go. And I would trust Larry with my life. So that's part of it, right? And this is why, you know, partly why we're here. We love the chance to show off Larry, right? We want people to see him and hear his story and understand that the you know, this is Larry's comeback arc. And I think secondly, you know, I have utmost faith in the devs as well. I truly believe that you know, once people come to the platform and they use it, they will stick. And so, kind of a lot of my growth efforts center around just bringing people to the UI, almost like a taxi or like a ferry service. If I can bring people to the user interface, then I'm confident that the majority of them will stay. And that they will see kind of what we're building, and that that will be another thing that that will encourage them to kind of take part in the points program and want to get a share of Dango points.
Yeah, I didn't know that much about both of your backgrounds actually, but yeah, I think Joy, I didn't know you were at Woo before, which we know pretty well too from a data provider perspective. I haven't seen any question in the chat. I don't have any others, Chop, unless you got some before your dreaded last queue for our two guests. But if you do, drop them in the chat, and we can ask Larry and George. But yeah, that's pretty exciting, and I guess mainnet soon.
Yeah,
You're mute, Chop, in case. Or George, Larry, free flow on you to share one thing that we haven't talked about today that you want to highlight, and so Pythians can learn more about Dango before the end.
Well, I guess we're in a Pyth podcast, and we didn't really talk about how Pyth come into the play. Yeah, so I guess I just want to highlight one thing. So, you know, a big difference between Pyth and other Oracle solutions is that Pyth is fast, right? You guys are shipping a new product called Pyth Laser, and Pyth Laser has like really low latency feeds, like 1 millisecond feed, 50 millisecond feed. I don't believe that kind of low latency feed is available elsewhere. So like take Chainlink, for example. If you guys don't know, Chainlink, the way Chainlink works is they only push a price update if the price changes more than a certain percentage. So for example, only if BTC goes up or down 0.5%, that is when they push a price update. If the BTC doesn't move very much, they just don't push. So, and of course, that's because gas price was and is really expensive on Ethereum. So they cannot push like every block. So that works okay for lending protocols like Aave, but those are not good enough for perp exchanges and the things we want to do. So one thing I want to highlight that why we need to use a low latency Oracle and why Pyth is a very good option for that is we want to prevent this thing called toxic flow. So what toxic flow is in another word is latency arbitrage. So what it means is, let's say on Binance, Bitcoin is trading at 100, on Dango is also 100. Well, I mean 100,000, but let's just say 100. If on Binance, Bitcoin jumps, let's say to 101. But traders on Dango, they have a latency, right? Let's say they're still having their orders around 100. Then there is an arbitrage opportunity. You can buy cheap on Dango and sell at 101 on Binance, provided that you are fast enough. And that is a risk for traders, because you could have sold an asset for 101, but you sold it for 100, and those losses can accumulate over time. and that hurts market makers, and hurting market makers meaning they're less willing to market make, and that means less liquidity, and that means worse execution for traders. So it's a downward spiral. So that's why we call it a toxic flow. So we're going to have two ways to combat this. One is we use a order matching algorithm called the periodic auctions. Basically, what it means is unless you are more than one block slower than the arbitrager, you are not going to be front run. And one block is 200 milliseconds, which is long enough for pretty much any algorithmic trader. And the second way we combat that is through our passive liquidity pool. Our passive liquidity pool will always place order above and below the Oracle price. And so for this to work, of course, the Oracle needs to be really fast. We cannot be like, Oracle was updated 5 minutes ago and we are placing orders around that price 5 minutes ago. Of course, we cannot. So we want an Oracle that's as fast as possible, that tracks centralized exchanges as much as possible. So that protects our traders and protects our liquidity providers.
That's a great chilling of pith. Thanks for the insights, Larry. But it's actually, I've been myself kind of diving more into, I guess, one of the key, our top users as well has been using Pith Laser, I guess our lowest latency Oracle price feed product that we have to combat through their AMMs, their AMM toxic flow and so on. And it's actually quite interesting. A bit too technical for me and my smooth brain, but it's super cool, and I think that's what we aim to achieve, is have one of the fastest price layer and product for people to really be able to build some cool stuff on chain and off chain. So thanks for the pith shilling here, Larry. Great stuff. Chop, any additional question on your end?
No, I'm gonna launch straight into the hardest question of the podcast, which is my final question to both of our lovely guests. If you had all of the knowledge that you have now, but you were stepping into crypto today, into your first job, what would be the one piece of advice that you would give to yourself? George, I'll throw to you first.
Well, I can. I have many, but let me just list things I have on top of my mind. The first is don't think too much. Just do it, and don't try to make everything perfect on the first try. Make something exist first, and then make it better. And the other thing I would like to tell myself is you should take more risk. The biggest, I like to say, the biggest risk is to not take risk. If you're just being like mid, that's not gonna make it. Yeah.
I like that. Don't be mid, take risks.
I would say, Nike's phrase is so powerful. Just do it. I think ideas and sort of talk is cheap. I kind of think execution, doers are worth more than their weight in gold. And I would tell my younger self, talk less, do more. And I would also say, have patience. I think it can be incredibly tough working in this very fast-moving industry. When you are in any kind of marketing role in crypto, you are naturally glued to crypto Twitter, and it's so all-consuming, and you see so many wins, you see so many people leveling up constantly, and if you're kind of attached to like a long-term project, it can be quite painful to kind of see what you think is people constantly winning on these short time frames. But the truth is, the biggest wins come from having the most patience letting things play out over a longer time horizon. And you know, I would say to myself, just be patient and don't get so wrapped up in everyone else's success. Stay in your own lane and focus on yourself, because that's all that matters.
I love it. Both fantastic answers. Thank you both very much for joining us on Beyond the Price. It's been great learning about Dango and what you two are bringing to everybody. I appreciate both of your time.
Thank you for having us on.
Yeah,
Real
thank you.
pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Boom. Fantastic. No, I mean those those creatures and it must be one of the most delicious looking branding I've seen in crypto.
It is. I'd never heard of a Dango before. I'm gonna
No,
have to look them up. I've learned something new there. Been culturally educated.
I'm
I
gonna
like
have to look this up and find some Dango near me to try it out.
Yeah, I love it. All right, short and sharp this week, Pepito. We got through it.
Yeah, no, another one. Do I have
I love-
alpha for next week? I do not have alpha. I don't think we have a guest yet. But hopefully we make it 18 in a row, 18 weeks in a row.
Yes,
We
can do it.
Yeah. Any closing thoughts from my end? I don't think so. Lots of it's been a busy month of August, and
it has been.
Should be a good September. I reckon.
Yeah, there's some exciting announcements happening in September, I believe, and into the lead up towards the end of the year. We've got some cool stuff coming from official Pith and from within the community as well. I'm looking forward to it. I might we probably have more to talk about on the community front next week. We might run everybody through some of these proposals that people have put together from the council. And
I think most of the alpha doesn't come from our mouth, but comes from the Pith forum usually. So it's always good to take a look over there.
Definitely is.
Well, Chop was another great one. Pythians, we'll see you next week, I guess.
That's it. See you, everybody. Thanks for joining. Talk to you next week.